But I think actually the narrative's changing a bit. I don't think in
Okay.
the past we thought about composability as a holiday assistant. I think that's something that we're considering more and more. There's two reasons why composability can help. The primary is like really site speed, and it's how it arrives at site speed because we know obviously performance is important during the holidays. There's a huge peak, and we know from research that we've done here at Salesforce. Shout out to Kayla Schwartz, one of our directors of research and insight. This is going to be the most peaky holiday season, meaning that the volume is going to spike in a smaller time frame, and
Mm.
consumers are going to be more value driven than ever before because of the entire economic climate. And so I think what some retailers are considering, maybe not enough, I don't know if enough of them are considering this, is when you go composable, you move from a page that loads in its entirety to a page that loads in components, aka, right? That's why it's composable. And so it increases the speed, but also you can manage some pages on composable. And so you can make some aspect of the site faster without jeopardizing your core set of operations. And that's what's great about our partners like Avalara that are creating composable solutions and enabling that aspect. So that's sort of one reason is really kind of like focusing on site speed, but there's obviously a risk, right? The risk is the API calls then shoot through the roof because now you're functioning, in this more sort of best of read environment, and then you have third parties. So there's a whole bunch of trust stuff that you have to consider if you're going to do that. And so therefore, selecting the right partner, right vendor is key that has performance support for API calls, right? So that's hopefully, hopefully I'm not going too into the weeds.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, the only other thing I'd add is, and this is all logical, it's like in those, as you're adding these new components, you have to test, right?
Yes.
Prepare for the unexpected, load balancing, and just have a plan. So, I mean, this is not rocket science, but more than ever,
Yeah.
as the complexity continues, you need to test that much further.
Well, and one question that you're both making me think of, and we kind of joked about it at the beginning about like holiday season starting in 2 weeks, but Prime Day is starting in 2 weeks, and Walmart's going to be doing things, and Target will be doing things. Like, all these other major retailers are going to be doing things earlier, and so I imagine, based on what you're saying, Natalija, that the peaks will be for a longer period of time than they maybe ever have before. Is there a time that retailers, in order to be successful, like, is there a time that they should be doing this? Like, should they be reorganizing their sites or converting to composable commerce like months in advance, year in advance? Like, how does that all come together? How do you think about that?
Definitely at least 6 months in advance of the holiday. There should be, like, to Melissa's point, a team in place to be
Right.
prepared, contingency plans. But I think you're hitting on something interesting, which is that, like, it's not just the holiday season. There are some
Right.
companies like Party
Yep.
City that get to spike during Halloween, right? So you've
Mhm.
got different times of the year that are peaky for different businesses. For B2B commerce, this is fascinating. It's end of quarter, end of fiscal. And so you have different peak times for different types of industries
Right.
and different types of businesses. So performance is unfortunately something that will both keep you up at night, but also you should be thinking about constantly. And so that's not good for your anxiety. But you should probably be thinking about that on a longer term basis and sort of anticipating the unexpected in case it does happen. That could be good news. And so that's sort of ongoing planning.
It's a great point.